Good evening, New Zealand. Good morning, Spain. Welcome to the webinar, Youth and Creativity from New Zealand to Minorca, by Youth Arts New Zealand's founder and CEO, Matthew Goldsworthy. My name is Jaume Gomila. I'm a cultural manager, and today I will be your host. Now on your screen, you can see a 44-year-old man, shaven-headed, stubble, using headphones and wearing a black and yellow t-shirt with the logo of the Employ Local Artists campaign. I am in a classroom at the Lifelong Learning School in Mahon, the capital city of Minorca, in the Balearic Islands, a region of Spain. This seminar is organized by Lifelong Learning Schools of Minorca in cooperation with Youth Arts New Zealand, Foundation for People with Disabilities of Minorca, and NYAS Artisans. In addition, thank you to our guest for his collaboration. Thank you to the organizations that have made it happen. Thank you to the participants. Thank you to our technician, Carles Canitrot. And thank you to Susan Emerson, our interpreter into International Sign System. The webinar will have 3 parts. 1, the current introduction. 2, Matthew's presentation. And 3, a Q&A section between Matthew and myself, where we will talk about the subject. If any question arises, please don't hesitate to comment this video, and we will answer it within the next few days. In an effort to propose solutions for cultural heritage, culture, art, and creativity in these difficult times of the COVID-19 pandemic and post-pandemic, we have organized 3 sessions. Before we move on, I will try to quickly summarize the 2 previous ones. The first session, 4th Sector, Health Crisis and Culture, made us aware of how important it is that public, private, and civic social players work together from a position of equity for positive and lasting change, and even generating hybrid organizational settings which guarantee general interest, economic benefit, and social and environmental well-being. The second session, Orange Hope, Cultural and Creative Industries Against COVID-19, made us aware of the importance of the economy of culture. Colombia has had the audacity to prioritize creativity and innovation, putting them on the top of the political agenda. And the results are already exceptional, a true example for the rest of the planet through 3 core ideas: healing, transformation, and memory. The third session will deal with how creative social enterprise Youth Arts New Zealand boosts the next generation of creative New Zealanders and how they connect young creatives with opportunities to showcase and optimize their capabilities. Without further ado, I shall introduce our guest. Matthew Goldsworthy is a driven young entrepreneur. Matthew founded YANS in 2017, and he's involved with several organizations within the creative sector, including the songwriting competition Play It Strange and Auckland City of Music. Matthew received the 2018 AIMS Emerging Talent Award for his work with Youth Arts New Zealand, and composes soundtracks for yet-to-be-made films in his downtime. At YANS, Matthew is responsible for steering the ship, creating impactful partnerships and overseeing the strategy of the organization. What an honor and pleasure to have him here. We are very grateful for the opportunity. Welcome, Matthew. The floor is yours.
Kia ora. Thank you so much, Jaume. It's an absolute privilege to be here. Sorry, the lights are flickering on and off in this office space, so hopefully they stay on. But yeah, thank you so much for having me here. I think when you reached out and I talked to you about this, we initially thought it was some sort of spam email because we thought, oh, Minorca, reaching out from there. It's crazy, but it's very cool that we're able to make this happen. And thank you so much for having us here. Yeah, it's very cool. So yeah, Youth Arts New Zealand is a creative social enterprise that connects, showcases, and develops creative young New Zealanders. I started the organisation back in December 2017 when I brought together a bunch of really cool friends and musicians to perform for the community. And really, nothing like that had been done in my community before. And so I brought them all together, and it was a youth-led event, which was the really cool thing about it. We had so many people across lighting and sound and design and all of those different aspects. And then Avalanche City, or Dave Baxter, who is a really famous New Zealand musician, he reached out to us through a mutual friend and colleague and said, hey, I actually want to perform with you guys, which was incredible. And his song is in all of our major supermarket, or one of our major supermarkets, so everyone knows the song. It's called Love, Love, Love. It's a great song. But we ended up playing that song with him at the end of the concert, and we had must have been 20, 25 musicians on stage, would have been 5 guitar players, 6 singers, a few bassists. It was mayhem, but it was incredible. It was very, very cool. And the day after that event, I realized that I couldn't not do more of it. I had to do more. The energy and the passion of everyone involved was so great that I said to everyone, look, I need to do more of this. So that's where the concept of Youth Arts New Zealand was born. And going back a little bit further, actually, when I was younger, struggled quite a bit with some mental health challenges, and to me, music, and especially piano being the instrument that I play, was incredibly vital in my development and also just my expression as a young person. And I used to, go to the music room in the middle of school just because I was having a bad day, and would just play, and instantly I would just feel so much better, or not necessarily better, but so much more grounded and aware, I guess. So I've carried that through with me and realized at this event, the thing about music and countless other events, how important it is to allow young people the opportunity to express themselves through music, through creative design, videography, all of those great outlets. So yeah, that's a bit about me, but over the last 2 years, Youth Arts New Zealand has grown quite significantly, which is very, very exciting. I've been working with my co-founders, Harrison Sugru and Zach Devi, who are just incredible people. I owe a lot to them, and they've really helped with us developing over the last 2 years. But we've run upwards of 30 events and projects. We've engaged with over 100 young people directly in terms of working with them on events and projects and providing them paid work opportunities in the creative sector, things like that. So yeah, it's all going well. And then COVID hit, and obviously that was not a great situation. We were quite lucky that that especially in New Zealand, we weren't hit as bad as countries in Europe and the United States and the UK. So yeah, really my heart goes out to those countries. And we did have some deaths here, which was very, very sad and upsetting, and it hit really close to home. But we were lucky as an organisation that we didn't suffer too much as a result. And really, after that pandemic, well, we're still going through it, aren't we? But after the lockdown in New Zealand, which has ended 3 weeks ago, we realised really how lucky we were, and that we were not only in a position where we could continue what we were doing, but we actually realised how important providing access to these creative opportunities for young people was, because in this current day and age, we really need to be supporting young people to connect with each other after social distancing and the lockdown, when everyone was away from each other. We need to be able to use creativity and the arts as a vehicle to bring people together and allow them to express their emotions and feelings and thoughts about how this has affected them. And that's the great thing about creativity, is that it's something that is so individualistic, but also can generate such incredible community. So yeah, really over lockdown, the great thing that we did, I mean, we lost a lot of our revenue. It was not great financially, but looking back on it retrospectively, it was actually incredible, because it gave us the opportunity to step back and analyze what we were doing. And so we developed a new strategic document for the next 3 years. We rebranded the organization. We recruited a new board of trustees, and actually we just had our first meeting last week, which was incredible. Very, very grateful to them for coming on board, especially such a difficult time. And yeah, we created a new website and a launch video and all of these different things, which were definitely more difficult while in lockdown, but we needed to do something. And we knew that we needed to be stronger than before emerging out of lockdown. So I'm very grateful to the team, and very grateful to the countless amount of volunteers and kind of support people that we had around us, and continue to have around us. I think the important thing is that with Youth Arts New Zealand, it's not my thing, it's not Harrison and Zach's thing. Really, it's for the young people of New Zealand, and saying that it is any different is probably misleading. So I just want to put that out there, because we wouldn't be in the position that we're in now if it weren't for both the support of the people around us, and also the youth creative community that have been so incredible working with us while we've been developing and growing and establishing as an organisation. So yeah, I mean, the next few months and years are definitely looking unpredictable and slightly overwhelming, but I am incredibly excited for what we're about to do. We're now working on a whole bunch of different initiatives that we've learned over COVID, that obviously the digital realm is such an awesome reality and opportunity for connection and collaboration. So a lot of the projects that we're doing now, we're looking at how to deliver them online. So we're looking at launching a creative capability building program for young people, an internship program to allow young people to kickstart their creative careers and get into the creative sector at an entry level. We're looking at mentoring programs just to support young people in both their creative endeavors, but also these kind of soft skills and resilience and confidence and mental health and well-being as an artist, those sorts of things, which are often left off when artist development programs are run. And then, the biggest thing that we're working on at the moment, which is really exciting, is a platform that will allow young people to tap into paid creative work opportunities. Again, it's all about kickstarting your creative career, and that's what Youth Arts New Zealand is about. There's so much opportunity out there, and that's what we're going out trying to aggregate, and then we feed that through to our community, who are so incredibly talented, and allow them to get their kind of foot in the door, I guess. So that platform's really exciting. Harrison's taking the lead on that, and that should be hopefully due for launch in a month or so. Everything's manual at the moment, but with that platform launch, it'll all be automated to a certain extent, which is very exciting. So, for example, one thing that we've released in the last week through that initiative is a white paper or a strategic document that we got sent through, and they asked us if we could engage one of our young artists to design the paper and make it not so corporate looking. And so we paired the young artist with the creative opportunity. The artist got paid, and the client came out with this awesome, youthful-looking document that completely nailed the brief. So that's an example of the type of work opportunities that we are actually able to provide. And yeah, so I know it's a lot, and forgive me if I'm over-speaking, but Youth Arts New Zealand, really the goal with it is to become a creative launchpad for young people in Aotearoa, which is the Māori, our native people and language, their language, their translation for New Zealand, or the original New Zealand. So yeah, really providing that creative launchpad. We have to be holistic, and that's why I'm speaking for so long and telling you about all of these different projects. We don't just sell a glass or a thing of bottled water. We have to be holistic, because the challenge for us, and also the opportunity, is to provide this pathway that is entirely comprehensive for young people. So how can we engage them at that entry level, and engage them with creativity and the possibility of a creative career? And then how can we actually challenge, not challenge, but channel them through to actually getting them to an internship or a creative career, through mentoring processes, through educational workshops, whatever that might be, connecting and collaborating with other young creatives. So we're looking to really fill that gap and provide this all-inclusive pathway, and also have quite a focus on our minority communities. So our Māori, our Pacifica communities, our Asian communities. We really want to ensure that we are inclusive and diverse excuse me, in our operations. So yeah, that's a little bit about Youth Arts New Zealand and who we are. And I'll pass over to you, Jaume.
Thank you so much for this revealing and uplifting speech. We are convinced that Minorca, which already has multiple international recognitions such as Biosphere Reserve, Mediterranean Diet, Dryestone Construction Technique, Starlight Destination, European Region of Gastronomy, and the pending Talaiotic Minorca, is a community which nowadays could assume how crucial it is to empower youngsters for a brilliant future through arts. And I feel that New Zealand and Minorca are two island countries with several things in common. With a British colonial past, both lands are protected by UNESCO, located in the antipodes, on the opposite ends of the earth. And I feel that's a great, inspiring dialogue. Our first question would be, if a Youth Arts Minorca should start, how would you guide us when taking the first steps?
Yeah, it's a great question, and to be honest, we are still taking our first steps. So we're always learning and adapting, and I think the thing that I would say is that it has to be youth-led, rather than coming in and saying we know the solution. Actually taking time to understand the challenges and put young people in a leadership position is so powerful, because I mean, really, like the power is in the people for these social impact initiatives. And if you can enable those people to create change, then they will in turn create change for others. It's this huge ripple effect. And it's a big focus of what we do. So we're at the moment engaging a youth leaders group to work with us that will advise us on key issues and challenges and opportunities within the youth creative sector. And that's really important to us because we want to always be in touch with and have our fingers on the pulse of that sector. If we don't do that, we run the risk of me getting old and going grey and not actually knowing what we can do to best serve our community. So really that would be the first step that I would recommend, is really identifying who are the youth leaders in your community, who are the young creatives that are advocating for these things, and then bringing them together and enabling them to create opportunities for others, because they know what's best. That's the reality. And even me at 20, I mean, I'm like, TikTok's coming out and everything. Oh well, it's come out. I'm showing my age at 20, and I don't even know the first thing about TikTok. I see some of the videos when they're shared on Instagram and things, but I don't know the first thing about that platform. So already in the 2 years or 3 years now since I've left high school, I'm already being separated from where the youth voice is at. So it's really, really important for us as an organization. And if you start an organization like this, then really having that youth voice and youth decision making at the forefront of policy and strategy is really, really important. I guess that's what I would say in terms of the first steps. And also, I mean, what we're learning is that Youth Arts New Zealand is a vision. It's not a single business model that does this and does that. It's a vision and a dream, and a dream that we're going to make happen. So being adaptive and being responsive is so important. Being agile and responding to changes within the community. It's so important for our organization and social impact initiatives in general.
That's amazing. Thank you. You have talked about the context, but how do your vision and mission emerge? From where? Do you agree that in the 21st century, leadership works best when it is collaborative?
Definitely. I mean, one of our guiding principles is impact through collaboration. So again, elaborating on my previous point, we can't be Youth Arts New Zealand unless we're comprehensive. We don't want to be a single body with a few team members that does everything and tries to monopolize. Really, our value is that we connect the youth creative sector. So there's all of these organizations out there doing incredible things at these kind of different levels of youth creative development, but being able to facilitate dialogue and conversation and opportunity between these organizations is really key for us. So, I mean, it's something that we're working on. We definitely can't claim to be doing too much of that at the moment. We're working towards it, but even this morning I was on a call with a music school or a music development program for young people up in Northland in North New Zealand. And they were saying that they just want to know who else is out there in the music, in the youth music space, because they don't really know. And that's a fabulous opportunity for us to actually provide a solution for that. And I guess going back to your question about how do your vision and mission emerge, it's a really interesting question because it's always emerging and always being shaped. But really, I think it came from my experiences as a young person and going through the challenges that I did when I was in school. And in my high school, I was really not encouraged to pursue a career in music, which was what I really wanted to do. And so that caused this really horrible disconnect for me. I felt like the system wanted me to do something else and that I would only be successful if I did something else. So that really frustrated me. And then getting out of high school, and I'm quite a driven, motivated person, and so I really tried to strive to make Youth Arts New Zealand a thing, and seeing how much of a need there actually was once we started, it's just constantly reinforcing the fact that our organisation is really needed, and it means that there is so much opportunity for us to create impact. And that's both a positive and a negative. I mean, it's a positive because we can jump into that space and fill the gap. It is probably going to take a lifetime, but at least there's lots of opportunity there and lots of cool ways that we can innovate the space. But I guess it is a negative because at the moment there's not too much that exists, or maybe a year or 2 years ago before we were fully launched, there wasn't too much that existed. So yeah, I guess it's like my answer to that is that it's constantly emerging, but my experience as a young creative and also the team's experience as young creatives themselves, because we're a youth-led team and Harrison and Zach are both creatives in their own right. We really bounce off each other in terms of the ideas that we have, because we know what it's like to be a young creative and to not be actively encouraged into the creative sector, even though it's growing at such an incredible rate, especially up here in Auckland. The screen sector here is growing at 16% annually. And that was over 4 years ago, I think, that statistic. And with the recent Lord of the Rings and Avatar movies and everything coming here, there's no doubt that will be increasing. So the opportunity is there. It's just up to us now to go out and seize it and work as quickly and diligently as possible to channel that opportunity through to our youth creative community.
Fantastic. Minorca, we really admire you. We really admire New Zealand. On the map of the stakeholders, where would you locate Jans? What is your organization's main value amid New Zealand's social structure? What would you say?
Yeah, so I mean, I think the great value with Youth Arts New Zealand is that we have the ability to tap into industries and organizations within a whole bunch of different areas. So we've worked with the corporate sector, with local council, with arts organizations, with private clients. There's so many different areas that we've worked with, because everyone is a consumer of creativity and the arts, right? And I've been talking about this extensively over lockdown. Here in New Zealand, all we did was watch Netflix and read books and poetry and listen to music, and the arts really was what got us through lockdown. And so that's a great value for us, because everyone really understands on that surface level what the arts and creativity means, and some people definitely understand that on more of a kind of psychological level as well, how that fits in. But I mean, we work with stakeholders across many different sectors, and that allows us to have a lot of impact rather than just working with arts organizations or just working with the private sector in terms of like corporates and or just working with government. Our model is agile and connected, and that's really the value of where we sit within the stakeholder map, I guess.
How interesting, Matthew. I would ask, what result of this joint venture, you said that you are a group of young people, are you the proudest of? What new objectives lie ahead for Jans right now?
Big question. I think one of the proudest moments I've had, I think there was an event called Apollo Night that we did, which was in the heart of Auckland's CBD, and it was a music and poetry night where we basically mentored two young people from a college near where I'm sitting at the moment, actually, and supported them to bring their event to life. And so we helped with them with, there's the lights, with sponsorship and community management and booking the space and all of those things that are quite hard to access when you're 15 or 16 years old. But really, they had the dream and the vision for it. So we said, right, we're not going to touch that. We will just support them to realize their dream of this event happening. And I remember talking to them over the course of conceptualizing that event, and they were saying that their parents weren't exactly the most supportive of their decisions to pursue artistic careers. And I mean, they were both, I think, fantastic. One of them definitely was a fantastic poet. And I think the other one was quite creative as well. And so it was really difficult for them. Similarly to me, I mean, my parents have always been supportive, but the kind of the school that I was at wasn't. So I completely understood where they were at. And the most incredible thing happened just after that night. Oh, sorry, no, it was during that event when one of their mums walked over to me and said, "Oh, are you Matthew?" I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Oh, thank you so much for doing this. You've actually reinforced to me or made me realize what it means to my kids to pursue something like this." And it was such an incredible moment for me to realize that what we did and what we facilitated, even though we just connected, really, they did all the work, we just connected, but in our support of them, it showed their parents and their family that they were actually incredibly talented. And that's really something that I will always treasure. Yeah, and I think in terms of what new objectives lie ahead at the moment, I mean, there's so much that we're doing. It's very hard to keep up, really. And there's always so much to do as well, and so many opportunities. So it's so difficult to prioritize. But definitely one of the most impactful things that we're doing at the moment is this gig and booking platform that will essentially allow people, clients, to come to the website and engage with incredible emerging talent from across the country and give them paid opportunities. And that's really great because it allows these young people to start to build their creative portfolio, which is so difficult. I mean, getting client work as a young person is so hard, especially if you don't have a degree or anything. But whenever you go for work, they always ask, well, provide a portfolio. And it's such a difficult thing to manage. So if we can facilitate that, then we're pretty happy. So that's one of the things that's really exciting for me at the moment. But also just what excites me about Yans is the flexibility that we have and just supporting young people to achieve their creative dreams. I was talking to one of our young musicians yesterday that is doing a crowdfunding campaign, and being able to, we just did one as well, which was successful, which I'm super happy about. But we were able to then help her out with her crowdfunding campaign and have a chat to her about her university challenges, and she was just trying to figure out, do I go to university for music or do I just pursue it on the side and work, or and so we were able to give her advice. And that's really what I love about what we do. I love being able to help other young people out, and even just being just a person for other people to talk to, and just listening to the people that we work with, I think is really, really cool. Yeah.
Definitely, I would love to be there with you to enjoy all these beautiful events. How has Jans changed young people's lives in New Zealand? Do you consider that now they will be suitably skilled to face the challenges of the global age?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges at the moment is connection, and especially that's come about as a result of COVID. But really, since the introduction of the smartphone and all of this wearable tech that we've got now, it's so difficult to actually have this human connection. But it's incredible that the arts can provide this experience this human experience where you truly get to understand someone else's thoughts and creative process and all of those things. So, yeah, I mean, we at Yans, we really treasure the fact that, and also take quite seriously the fact that we can have quite an influence over young people's lives. And I know to me, uh, I got some paid work opportunities when I was 15, 16, and it was just amazing for me. It was the coolest thing that someone recognized my piano work and actually wanted to pay me for it, because that signaled to me that they valued the work that I was doing. And so I performed piano in one of our town centres close to where I live, over Christmas and Mother's Day and those sorts of events. And it was so fulfilling. So I think the role that we play is really just providing that first step at the moment, that first step into a creative career. But yeah, I mean, again, we're developing this full suite of initiatives that will allow young people to kickstart their creative career through mentoring and education and internships and all of those good things. But yeah, I think definitely that idea of connection, that's one that we're working on quite closely at the moment. And I mean, New Zealand has one of I think the highest youth suicide rate in the OECD, which is absolutely astounding. And whenever I say that to someone from another country, they go, "Oh, New Zealand's so happy," and they always seem so happy. And the reality is, our young people are so pressured. And are facing so many challenges, and I'm not sure what it's like in Minorca, but the situation here is really dire, and the role that creativity plays is the ultimate form of self-expression. And when you bring people together, young people together that are both expressing themselves in these unique ways, there's so much power in that relationship and in that connection and collaboration. So I think that's one of the things that moving forward we're really keen to pursue. So we're doing a whole bunch of connection events over the next year or so to trial that out and to see how we can just bring people together and stimulate a sense of family, or whānau, as they say in Māori, and really just bringing people together with a shared sense of understanding creativity.
Yes, that point I think is crucial for social inclusion, and you are influencing society. That's very important. And I have another question. How
Yes.
important is mentorship for young people and entrepreneurship for society?
Incredibly, is the short answer. I mean, I wouldn't be in the place that I am today without my mentors. And they've been both formal mentors and informal mentors. Formal through a partnership with an arts media organization here with a guy called Tim Walker, who is just such a fantastic soul. And informal through just the sector connections that I have, and even my family being so supportive and helping me grow and develop as a person. But I really can't emphasize enough that mentorship for young people, it might be an hour of someone's time, but for them it's a lifetime of impact. And I mean, I have a note on my phone that I always add to whenever some of these people that I've met and have mentored me say something inspirational. And I always look back on it because it's just a few words from them, but to me, it's just something to be inspired by. And that, I mean, I like to think of it as an investment. It's not you sitting down and having a 1 hour conversation or whatever it is, a 6 month relationship or something. It's totally an investment in the future of the creative sector and just the future of the planet. I mean, that's what young people are. So it really makes sense. And what I'm finding in New Zealand especially is that there's so many established professionals that are willing to give back because they know how, especially in the creative sector, they know how tricky it is to actually begin a creative career. And so for them, they want to give back. And the role that Jans plays in that is just being able to facilitate that. It's a great opportunity. But yeah, I mean, it's just so important, and I would encourage everyone, even if you don't feel like you're a qualified mentor, I guarantee you, if you're over the age of even 18, you have something to give back, and you have some lessons that you've learned that you can share. And mentorship isn't counseling. You don't have to have the right answer. The role of mentorship is to simply guide and to understand and to listen. That's what good mentorship is, and that's honestly the only reason, or really one of the only reasons why I'm here today is because of the mentors that have guided me, and that means that now I can have impact through my work with Youth Arts New Zealand. So, you know, taking that investment, it can pay absolute dividends in social returns and benefits.
I totally agree that mentorship is based on the almost lost art of conversation.
Yeah.
Before we finish, we would love to listen to a final enlightening and empowering message from you, our guest.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, thank you so much for having me. It's been incredible. And yeah, I hope you're all well over in Minorca. It's a pretty scary time at the moment, and especially for our young people. It's a scary world that they're growing into. So support them as much as possible. But yeah, I mean, if there's young creatives listening to this that want to pursue their dreams, then just do it. Just give it a go. I think there's so much pressure placed on young people now to have a right decision. Nothing's correct. I'm almost certain that every adult will tell you that they tried different things and eventually fell into a place that they're happy with, or whatever. So, you know, take risks, and if opportunities arise, then spring on them. But yeah, I guess that's what I would say. Just go out and make it happen.
Oh, marvelous. Susan, Matthew, thank you very much wholeheartedly for this beautiful meeting, which we will never forget. We hope to be able to welcome you in Minorca with open arms as soon as possible to continue sharing and spreading these new concepts and strengthening bonds between our island nations. Bye bye, Matthew, Susan. See you very soon.
See you later. Thank you so much.
Thank you.